All right, thank you everyone for coming. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm also glad that we've got so many Australian flags on the wall here behind me. A couple of days ago, I did an interview with Cafe Lockdown, what's it called? Lockdown, yeah. And I said in that interview, I wouldn't do anything else, public appearances, etc., unless there was only the Australian flag behind me. That's what I said, and I'm glad there's only the Australian flag behind me today. But why did I say that? Yeah, that's right, it deserves a clap. And you know what, that does deserve a clap, because no other politician, maybe apart from Senator Hanson, would actually say that. And that's important. Okay, now why is it important that there's only the Australian flag? Because when there are multiple flags behind us, what does that tell us? It tells us this. It tells us that we're not one people. It tells us that we're not one country. It fosters division. That's what it does. There are enough things dividing our society today without having multiple flags as well. Would you agree or not agree? Of course you'd agree. Of course you'd agree. And one thing about nationalism, about loving your country. It's not a bad thing to love your country. It's not a bad thing to love where you're from. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. But the left have made it a bad thing. That's what they've done. If you say, I love my country, I'm proud to be Australian, red, white and blue all the way, oh, you're a racist. Oh, you're a bigot. Oh, what's wrong with you? No, not on my watch. I'm proud to be Australian. I'm proud. But let's talk about that for a second. Why is there a push at the moment, at the highest levels, and there is a push, why is there a push to make it bad to love your country, to make it bad to be your country first, whatever that country might be, right? Why is that seen these days as wrong? I'll tell you why. Because the globalists hate that. They hate that. What they want to do is they want to erode borders. I think you all know that. They want to destroy what it means to be a patriot of your individual country, because they have a globalist mindset, you see, right? Now, globalism on paper, it sounds great. It does sound great. What's wrong with having a global government, a global view of looking at things, a global health system, a global police force? That's what they want, right? You know that. Now, it's hard enough to effect change right here. Right here. I mean, your local member is probably just down the road. It's hard enough to get him or her to stand up for you and what you believe in. Now, what happens when the person that makes the decisions for you, or in this new global world, and it's not too hard to imagine one of these new global worlds, where the person that's in charge of your sector is not just down the road, but they're in Brussels or they're somewhere else. How do you effect change then? How do you effect change when it comes to global policy? You won't. You won't affect change. And that's what they want. They ultimately, what it's about is it's about control. They want more control over the direction of all the nations in the world, not just Australia. This is not just an Australian problem, it's a global problem. Now, I often hear people say this. They'll say, oh, you know what, I'm not interested in politics. And I get it, there's a lot going on. But guess what? You might not be keen on politics, but politics is keen on you. It's keen on you. Now, I've got some notes here which I'm going to refer to so I don't get any of my facts wrong. I don't want to get fact-checked. Now, unlike your Premier, Chris Mims, I didn't enter politics because it was a lifetime ambition of mine to be a career politician. I come from the private sector. I put my hand up because I had had enough. I had had enough of watching the political class make bad decisions over and over and over again that disadvantaged not only me, but my country. And I said, you know what? I can't stand by anymore. I've got to throw my hand up. I've got to throw my hat in the ring. Got to throw it in there, right? And thankfully, I was elected to Parliament. But I was elected to Parliament to represent you. I was elected to Parliament to represent Australian values, traditional, conservative Australian values, and I will do that every single day. Now, what I need from you is this, and I'll go back to Chris Mims in just one moment. What I need from you is this. I need you to be more interested in the political process. You're here, that's great, that's a start. But it's not enough. It's not enough, not even close. Whatever you're doing now, you need to do 10 times more. 10 times more. And the next election that rolls around, you need to be there to either throw your hat in the ring and become someone that, leads in your community and has your name on that ballot sheet, or you need to support someone else if that's not what you want to do. You need to, shoes to the pavement. That's what you've got to do. You've got to spread the message. Now, Premier Mims, okay? Mims. He has been a member of the Labor Party since 1998. 98, when he was just 18 years old. Well, what kind of an 18-year-old wakes up one day and goes, ooh, I'm going to join the Labor Party, or the Liberal Party, or whatever else? It's not something that your average 18-year-old thinks about, in my opinion. Am I crazy or what? What kind of an 18-year-old thinks I'm going to join a party? I mean, come on, right? Now, he's a lifelong political tragic. That's what he is. And he represents everything that's wrong with politics today. Now, he's been in politics at a local government level since 2004. 2004. Now, politicians should not be career politicians, and I'll get back to that. He has a Bachelor of Arts and a Master's in Public Policy. Ooh, how good does that sound? I'm going to go study a Bachelor of Arts, and I'll do a Master's in Public Policy. That sounds like a real swell guy to hang out with at a dinner party, right? Real swell guy. Now, he was an advisor to a guy named Carl Scully, a former Labor MP for Smithfield. Now, Mr. Scully was forced to resign in 2006 for misleading Parliament, not once, but twice. Twice. He was also an advisor for John Robertson, the former Labor member for Blacktown. Now, he resigned in disgrace after he was found to have written a letter in support of Manharan Monis, who went on to become the gunman from the Sydney hostage crisis in 2004, the Lindt Cafe siege. That's what happened there. What is lacking with Chris Mims? What is lacking? Well, yes. Actually, I wasn't going to say that, but yes. Probably that, yeah? So Chris Mims' resume doesn't have any worthy experience on it whatsoever. He's never even run a small business. Hasn't even run a small business. If you haven't even run a small business, manage the books, pay your taxes, organise your staff, all these kind of things, how can you be expected to effectively run a state? How? You can't, right? Now, Chris Mims, he's got some questionable views as well, in my opinion. One of his questionable views is this, and I've got it written down here. In his maiden speech to Parliament, when he was first elected, he called for mandatory Mandarin Chinese lessons for students in New South Wales. That's what he called for. I mean, mate, that doesn't pass the pub test. We're in a pub right now. It doesn't pass the pub test. I'm telling you now. And you know what? The problem with Australian politics is this. This is the problem right now. It's our parliaments, be it state or federal, and I'm a federal politician. Begrudgingly I am anyway. I don't wish what I have here upon anybody. I do it because I do it. Hello? Testing? Hello? Okay. I do it because I want my country to be a better place. I don't do it because I've been part of a political machine for my whole life, and that's the problem. That's the problem. A politician should be this. It should be a regular, everyday person, right? Like you, regular, everyday person from the community who decides that they want to make a difference for their community or their state. They should have life experience being a regular Joe. They should go to Canberra or go to their state house, represent their community as best they can, and then this, at the end of hopefully one or maybe two terms, there's an argument to be made for term limits. At the end of their term, They go back to the community and they go back to living a normal life. Because what happens, and I see this in Canberra, politicians sit there for a lifetime, okay? A lifetime. And Prime Minister Albanese is a great example. In that lifetime, they become disconnected from you. They forget what it's like to be you. They forget what it's like to have to struggle to maybe pay the mortgage. Those Telstra and Optus phone bills keep coming in, $100 a month, $150 a month. The internet's coming in, etc. They have to pay that, right? And they are struggling. And we all know that. We all know that. And because they have not been you for such a long time, how can they represent you? The answer is they cannot. They cannot represent you because they're not one of you. So we need to do absolutely everything that we can to be rid of the career politician. Would you agree or not agree? Thank you. I knew you would agree. I know this is a great crowd. I knew that already. Now, I put my hand up to run because I was afraid of what the political class, the professional political class, would do to our country if we left them in there unopposed. That's why I ran for office. Now, the price of refusing to participate in the political process is this. The price is being governed by your inferiors. That's the price. I'll tell you a little story. When I was first elected, all those, 2021, walked into Canberra, walked into Parliament House, and I thought to myself, oh my God, how am I going to, be able to stand next to these great learned people, all these senators and members of Parliament? They're so intelligent. I'm just a guy from the suburbs in Melbourne, from the outer suburbs. How am I going to be able to stand my own? I was so nervous. And within 45 seconds after meeting half of these people, I can tell you now that half of these people are borderline idiots. They are borderline idiots. That's what they are. Look, they're really not that intelligent. They're really not. In fact, I think that they are less intelligent than the average person out in the community, okay? You need to understand that, because when you see them on TV, when you see them on Sky News, when you see them on Channel 7, 9 and 10 or wherever else you consume the content from, don't think that they're better than you. Don't think that they're smarter than you. They're not. I know these people. I know them personally, not all of them. There are some good people in there. Craig Kelly was one, obviously. You got your, yeah. Thank you, Craig, for inviting me tonight. You got your other good people. You've got your Senator Hansons, your Senator Rennicks, and a few others. Of course, we all know that. They're all good people, but the vast majority are not intelligent and probably not very good people either. Now, let me give you some examples of how our country is being destroyed right now. And there are many. I'm just going to pick some out here. Now, the economy is being destroyed. We all know that. Economy is being destroyed. Grocery prices are up. Fuel is up. Power bills are up. Interest rates are up. Rents are up. Your mortgage is up. What else is up? Mr. Albanese is up. He's up and away. He's always overseas. At one point, Mr. Albanese gave more press conferences overseas than what he did in Australia. And what he did right here. I'm sure he's back now. It's Australia Day tomorrow. He has to at least pretend to love the country, right? So he's back. Our nation is in $1 trillion of debt. $1 trillion debt. That's $1,000 billion. We are ceding our sovereignty to unelected globalist organizations. Can you name one? I heard the WEF, the UN, the WHO, right? All these big groups that have too much influence over the direction of policy of our nation. Unelected, unaccountable, make decisions for you. Just a taste of what the future's going to bring if we don't stop it right now. The innocence of children is being destroyed. Destroyed. Yeah? We can all agree on that, can't we? Yeah? Apparently, women have penises now. Apparently. Apparently. And now, because I said that, I'm sure I'll be called a bigot tomorrow morning. Because I said, because I believe that women don't have penises. Oh, you bigot. That's what I am. I'll wear that and screw you. Now, and that, yeah. Someone's got to say it. You have to speak. If you don't speak, they win. Their tactic is this. Their tactic is shutting you up, making you afraid to lose your job, afraid because your friends may not agree with you, because your work colleagues might say, oh, you shouldn't say that. Why shouldn't I say that? It's true. Women don't have dicks. What do you want? Right? Our national security is being threatened by those to the north. By those to the north. They're threatening our national security in many ways. The government is attempting to censor speech it doesn't like. Did you know that? The Mims Disinfo Bill? Let me talk about the Mims Disinfo Bill for just 1 second. Now, we all know here that the Labor Party is responsible for the Mims Disinfo Bill, right? But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, ladies and gents. It's not a Labor Party idea. It is a Liberal Party idea. Paul Fletcher, thank you, ma'am. Paul Fletcher, the former communications minister for the Liberal Party, first floated the idea for the Mims Disinformation Bill. His idea. All of a sudden, obviously we all know that the Liberal Party lost the election. The Labor Party is in charge now, but magically the bill ends up in their hands. And they're going to push it. How do you think that happened? How do you think that happened? I'll tell you how it happened. Donald Trump refers to it as the deep state. That's what he says, the deep state. There is truth to this. I'm giving you the example right now. A Liberal Party idea under the former communications minister, Paul Fletcher, ends up in the hands of the Labor Party a year later, and now the Labor Party wants to ram it through. The deep state. That's what happened. Who are the deep state? They're the bureaucrats behind the scenes. That's what they are. The bureaucrats. The people who you will never know their name. They will never go to an election. They are not accountable to anyone. And they will push whatever agenda they want to be pushed through. And it doesn't matter who sits in the Prime Minister's office. It doesn't matter which party is in charge. Why? Because the Labor Party and the Liberal Party are controlled by the same special interests. That's why. That's why. That's why. But there is a solution. There is a solution. The solution is your voice, ladies and gents. It's you. You're the solution. You're the solution. The solution is courage. The solution is you being strong. Now, a nation is being destroyed. Make no mistake. This country will be destroyed. It will be. It will be. Unless you stand up. Unless good people stop being polite. Stop being polite. I'm not saying be rude, but tell the truth. Stop being timid. Stop being afraid to speak out. Don't be afraid to speak out. That's why the Mims Disinfo Bill is there, to shut you up. But you know what? The voices of ordinary people, they are starting to rise. Starting to rise. I don't think we're there yet, but we are starting. So I'm calling for this. I'm calling for your voice to become a thunderous roar. A thunderous roar. A roar for decency, for Australian values, for freedom. For gosh darn common sense. That's what I'm calling for common sense. And I promise you, if each of us here uses whatever platform that we have, we will make a difference. Okay? It can be, your platform might be your local community group that you're a part of, your friendship group at work, your family and friends. Now, I'm not saying to bark at people because they won't listen, but drop ideas, drop different ways of that they can think about a problem into their ear and guide them down the right path. Don't yell at them to go down the right path, just guide them. So the next time, I don't know, I'll give you a rough example. The next time we see a guy with a penis, I was going to say dick, but a guy with a dick, screw it. You won't silence me. Next time you see a guy with a dick on TV, pretending to be a woman, participating in women's sports, and your friends or family are like, oh, that's okay. Say, no, it's not okay. It's an unfair advantage, and of course, he's a man. No, that's ridiculous, right? I'm not sure if you saw, it actually broke today in the US. So in the US, they had a 50-year-old man competing with teenage girls in the swimming. And then the 50-year-old man was then using the girls' change rooms and changing with the young teenage girls. That's pretty messed up, right? And you know what? The parents didn't say anything. Why? Because they were afraid. They were afraid. The parents didn't want to go onto the media and talk about it and say no. They're afraid. Don't be afraid. You've got to speak. If you don't speak, country's gone. Country's gone. Now, a country has many problems. Oh yeah, we got some problems, all right. We got plenty of problems. But you know what the good thing is? There's a silver lining. The problems that we are experiencing right now were created by men and women, right? Men and women just like you. What does that mean? Well, not exactly like you. Men and women in a biological sense. But that means that they can be solved by men and women. That's what it means. The problems can be solved if we are courageous, if we use our voice, if we speak up in the face of adversity. If we speak up, now our country and our people will obviously benefit. That's what will happen. We'll benefit. Now the challenges that we face are many. Ooh, they're many. But we're doing something about it. You're doing something about it right now by being here tonight. You're doing something about it every time you share my content on social media. You're doing something about it every time you talk to your friends and family and have those uncomfortable conversations. You're doing something about it every time you just say, no, I'm not okay with this. Right? Make sense? Okay. Now, you need to remember something. You are not alone. You are not alone. All right? There are a lot of you here tonight, but there are many more at home that think like you that don't have the courage yet to stand up in the face of adversity. But if we are together, we can make a difference. If we are together, we can stand up. If we are together, we can create change. If we are together, we can create a better tomorrow for the generations that will come next. If we are together, we can save Australia. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Aussie! Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Thank you. Thank you.